Hey everybody, welcome back, Michigan here, with a very brief video. However, I want to do a quick tutorial on how the Stronghold tab works, as well as just some other tips and tricks for, um, starting a skirmish or an advance and switching bridgeheads and all that. A couple of people came to me today, they said they didn't know how to do it, so here you go. And for anybody else, if you're not in a clan, if you ever get in one and you're starting one up, maybe this will be helpful. But anyway, we're going to start off. To start in advance, obviously you can get your invites down in the bottom, but we're not going to go that way. So we're going to go to random battles, and then we have all these modes. We're going to select Stronghold Battles here in the top right. And then it's going to bring up this very lovely tab. So you can see we have a couple of buttons here. We can create detachment. We have these buttons here. We have not in battle. We have with empty places. And then we have a calendar here for battle schedule, but this is not too relevant once you get to know it. So anyways, we'll start with it. So if you are on the US Central server, you can do skirmishes from 4 p.m. all the way until 2 a.m. SA server, don't really worry about that. Those don't usually happen on SA. And if you are on a different server, maybe EU or RU, you can take a look at this tab and see your respective times. So skirmishes are going to be the same for Tier 8 and Tier 6. 4 p.m. to 2 a.m. and I'm Eastern Standard Time, by the way. And then we have advances, which is the major one, and those start at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for me, and they run all the way until 1 a.m. Now you can see they're in little blocks, and that's because each advance uses up a 1-hour period. Now an advance cannot go for, it will not spill over into the next hour. Now you might have 2 minutes, I believe that's the lowest I've seen, to get your tanks ready, but that's very rare. Normally you have about 10 to 15 minutes, I would say on average. So you can kind of click through days. Obviously, you can see we have War Games here on Saturday with this little trophy. So War Games actually runs from 7 p.m. all the way until 1 a.m. You can see it overlaps with advances here, but for 1 hour, you can get War Games points through other stuff, and I'm going to go over, how everything works in War Games too in a second. But let's start at Tier 6 skirmishes. So you can see here I have all these lovely clans running Tier 6 skirmishes. It's obvious which ones are in battle based on the battle icon. Now if I'm looking for a Tier 6 to play, I can select not in battle or with empty places. Not in battle means obviously, I could accept them now. If I jump in here, you can see they're not in battle. They're readying up, they're looking for players. So we're not going to join them there. Now Tier 8 is the same. So you can see all these clans playing Tier 8. I don't see any of our guys in there, but that's okay. Now, advances, you can do the same thing here. So, if your clan has something going on, it's going to show up in the top. Now, this is what's called backdooring. Now, you can see it doesn't show up here for 6s and 8s, but it does show up for advances, and this is called backdoor. It's going through this tab. Now, for us to see this, if you're starting a detachment, or if you're starting a advance here, what you need to do is click this detachment is hidden. Now we're going to go and start our own, and we'll kind of demonstrate how that works. So let's say I want to start a detachment. I'm going to go up here, I'm going to select either Tier 8, Tier 6, or I can go over here to the Advanced tab. Now what are advances? And they are competitive play, 15 on 15 Tier 10 tug of war style. So let's take a quick look at it. Now you can see right here we have all of our maps. So these are different bridgeheads, and actually we're going to close out of here and I'm going to show you what these correspond with. So you can see we have north, east, south, west. Now these actually correspond with your stronghold. Let's take a quick look over there, and you can kind of get an idea of the whole point here. So you can see we have, it could be north, north, south, east, west maybe. Now what you're doing here effectively is that you are defending these roads. So each one of these buildings is assigned a map, and if the enemy is able to attack it, you are essentially defending these buildings. Now it used to be that you would take boxes away from them, I believe. I don't think that's still the case, but it used to be that when you attack an enemy building, you would actually take some of their points. Now somebody can correct me, but that may have been the case for Clan Wars and not for advances. So you can see on the top here you have all of your ELO ratings. We have where class is ranked. We're ranked 32. Here's your ELO. How many battles you've played in a 28-day period. It's 651. If you want to get a comparison for some of the other clans above us, you can see your win percentage, just over 50%. pretty good. I'll take that. You know, we've got our overall battles, 21,000, and our overall win ratio, I believe. And this is actually a win ratio in a 28-day period. So overall, we win 54%. Not bad. Now you can see the same for 6s and 8s. Now it should be noted that if you have a small clan, you do need 50 battles to enter that rating. But this is a tips video, so let's go back here to Stronghold Battles. Go back to our created. So it should be noted when you're selecting a defense, the top map in each square is going to be the first one. So pretend that the toss-up game is here, and then the other ones are above it. So if the toss-up game were to be won by the enemy, lost by us, we would have to defend on Himmelsdorf if we select this one. Ensk on this one, Fish Bay, and you can see the second line of defense. Now if you note, all of the last ones are all the same, and that's because all of those roads, if you notice, led back to one building, and that is our citadel. So you can see that little castle there. It says citadel, and we would have to play on Redshire to defend against, you know, that if we ever got to that point. If you're having to defend on your citadel, you're in a very bad position. But let's select Ensk. We're going to just play around with that. And what's going to start off is very lovely green forts, and it's going to put me at the top. You can see by the little hat, it says detachment. Now, at the top here, you can see a cross-sword border. You can see our front line, which is Ensk, our reserve line, which is Moravanka, and there's our lovely citadel at Redshire. Now, right here, you can see the front line of the enemy, the reserve line, and their citadel. Now, we don't know what maps that we're going to be playing when we match up against an enemy team. However, once we play that first battle, all of these will be visible, and it will show up just like this. Now, the toss-up battle is always Himmelsdorf. And what this basically is a standard battle, no attack defense. And if you win it, you get to attack the enemy's side. If you lose it, then the enemy gets to attack you, and that's noted by these arrows. So this red arrow would extend, the cross swords would disappear, and it would point towards ours. Now, if the red arrow points towards one of your circles with the flag, that means you are on defense. If your green arrow points towards their red circle with the flag, that means you're on attack. Now, what happens if you draw? So if you draw the battle, it is a toss-up. It's basically a coin flip, and it doesn't matter how many tanks you kill or how close you were to winning or the hit point difference. It is a toss-up. So it could be 14-0, but if your last tank survives and that battle timer runs out, it would be a toss-up. So the other battles, let's say we lose the first battle, the enemy team attacks. That means we are defending on Ensk. Now, these are 10-minute battles, they're not 15 minutes. So the enemy team has 10 minutes to either cap us out or kill all of our vehicles. Now you can see the cap circles here are white. And when you actually play when you play a battle, they will turn red or green, and you'll know beforehand. So let's look at the top here, because we have some special consumables. We have Inspire, which is going to affect all the vehicles around you. Now you can see 30% to major qualifications. So it's basically like a very overpowered ventilation system. Now you can see we have a 40-meter effect radius, a 40-second duration with a 15-second wind down time. So what the wind down time means is that anybody who was in the circle when it expired has an additional 15 seconds. So we also have the artillery strike here. Now we can use arty strike, and we can also use, I don't actually think airstrike is up anymore. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. So you can see we have 1200 damage with 30-meter radius. So when you drop this, and I'm sure if you look at any of the other advanced battles, a good way, if you're not familiar with this system, just go watch maybe one of the full advances I have. It'll just say full advance episode 1. You can search that up. And that'll show everything, all this post-game. You can see the arrows, exactly what I'm talking about. And now this arty strike, it will count down from 5, and then it'll do 50 damage every half a second or second, I believe, until it has run out for 20 seconds. Sorry. And we have different levels here. So you can see some of these do a little more, and now the maximum damage, this means you sit in that strike the entire time. That is the max amount of damage too. Now we have high capacity transport. This increases the amount of resource we earn. So if you win a battle, this is great because you get 60% extra resource. And the requisition, which means we earn 60% more for the whole advance. So that means that if you're running all these and you win an advance solidly, you should get about 40,000 boxes. Now it should be noted there is a ×2 boost if we take a look here. A ×2 boost right here for playing on a set of maps. I'm not exactly sure what to call it, a bridgehead that hasn't been played. So if you play on this one and we won, and now that's only for the first battle. So if we play on this one and we citadels, let's say we already won it, we would only get 30,000 boxes instead of the 40,000. However, we're a clan with about 50 million boxes, a little bit more. So it's not needed. We usually go off the map that's best to win. Now, if you noticed here, if you need to change the bridgehead, you click this little gear here in the top left. And what that allows me to do is I can select a new bridgehead, and just like that, it notes it down here, and we now have Himmelsdorf, Westfield, and Redshire. Now, you could say, well, I want Cliff. Now, we can't click that because actually our other detachment is currently using it, so you can only have one team per bridgehead. And you can see it's making the noise, but it's not letting me do it. So let's quickly talk about team composition, then we're going to go into war games, and then we'll wrap this up real quick, because I'm sure a lot of this is repeat knowledge. So you can see here we have these little numbers at the top. So members 2 out of 15. The 15 refers to the total amount of members on here. Now the Legionnaires, the little horn, refers to how many non-clan you can have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send out a quick invite, and let's see what happens. I'm going to invite everybody on my friends list. You can see here it actually sorts us by clan members and then Legionnaires. So we're going to pull in this very lovely, he's actually a fellow YouTuber, so he will actually see this if the game will let me. So we're going to leave him right there, and he'll get to play with us. But you can see people are starting to join now. Now class has very specific policies on when we pull Legionnaires in and all that stuff, but clan members are able to pull themselves in. And you can see them starting to select their vehicles. We're going to come in here. Now, this is not like Clan Wars. You do not select on the garage. Let's take a look here, and I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So, what we do is we select based off of this. So, I select this, then I hit select here. Now, if I go and I select the 60 TP, there's no battle button here. Well, let's say I want to select the Chieftain. Nothing. What I have to do is I have to select through this interface, and this interface alone. So, I can select the Chieftain here. And in order to ready up, I would have a big ready button. Again, if I want to change, I can't do it through the lower part, and this messes a lot of people up. You have to actually click on your vehicle again, come down, I'm going to swap to the JP E100, and there we go. But again, we're going to move back to our Chieftain, because that is what we normally bring. So let's just jump into war games real quick. I'm going to get a lot of people very confused as to why I am in the advance with my headset muted, but they'll know soon enough. So in the top left here, this is your whole Stronghold panel. And you can see we have all these different booster things, and I guess I should go over this real quick. So each one of these buildings has a specific purpose, and you can see some of them have gears on them. So each building creates one of these items. The command center doesn't do anything. Actually, you just use this to upgrade. So ours is already level 10. You can actually look at the about upgrade and see how much it costs to upgrade to each level. So obviously the level 10, it was just over 500,000 boxes. And for a clan that isn't that active, that's hard to achieve. Obviously it gets exponentially higher. It looks like it's actually twice as high every time. Almost. Maybe a little bit more. Now if we go back again, we can click on, let's say, the financial, we'll click on the transportation unit. Now these make the high capacity transports. Now in order to make them, I have to use this little slider. So it's going to tell me down here how many boxes it takes to make, and how many seconds it takes to prepare them. So let's move the slider and make 5. So it's going to cost our clan 375 industrial resource, and it's going to take 25 seconds. Let's hit prepare there. Now you can see they're making them currently. There's 1, we're down to 4. And if we take a look here, our transportation unit now has those little gears. Let's take a look at the financial unit. So here we are currently making 75 battle payments. Now you can see the boosters that these have, and these are up top. And actually, it's so many, because these take 8 hours each, they will be finished on July 20th. Now, currently, it is June 25th. So, you can see how long these take. Obviously, every other building, you can kind of mess around with that. This is going a little over what I thought, so we're going to just move into war games. So, you can see here, we have a couple of different sort of things here. And you can see, actually, there's gold that we won. So, if we take a look at Vanquish, now, Vanquish is the difference between your team and the enemy team. So you can take a look here with advances if you want to pause this and take a look at the rules for it. Basically, the better you win, the more points you get. Now, rush is how fast you win the game. And again, I will click on rules. And there you go. Clans earn point for every second under par after the victorious battle ends. So there you go. Demolition is, I believe, how many tanks you kill or how many you destroy. Yep, for each vehicle destroyed. And assembly is legionnaires. Now remember, those are the little people with the horn next to them. Not necessarily little people, but you know what I mean. So the better you do, the more gold you get. Now, this is divided among everybody in here. So normally, actually, this is a down week for us. Normally, we're first, and then some number in here. And you can see all the rewards we get. So we got some amazing credit boosters here. Lots of level 12 stuff. Some good RE strikes. Now, these are a little better. But all this gold basically gets divided among how many battles you played during that hour. So it's split into 2 hours, or 2 sections from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m., and then from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m. Now, remember, that's Eastern Standard Time, so it might be a little different from you. So I'm going to just wrap that up here. I hope you got some tips, maybe understand a little bit how things work, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.